Welcome back, everybody, to episode 4 of Yuckin Ball. We've said last video that we're going to try to shoot for 30 minutes. We're going to try to do that again today. Just going to go over a few things. We're going to go over the playoff picture, who's hot, who's not. We got our 7th inning stretch, and then we'll close it out with the series of the week. What's good, boys?
What's going on? This is definitely willing to bet a burrito that this is going to be under 30 minutes. It's definitely not going to be for me yapping, not today.
Yeah, this is a late recording, guys. So I think we're all ready to go to bed.
Yeah, bear with us. You want to get us started, big man?
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started with that playoff picture there. So just like last week, we're going to start with, we're going to just go over both the National League and the American League, just the standings and how they are as of today. So once again, in the American League, the Orioles and Yankees have begun another tiebreaker at the beginning, or at the top of the American League at number 1, representing the East. And then at number 2, representing the AL Central, we have the Cleveland Guardians. And then number 3, representing the West, we got Maestros right here. Ooh, right there. So number 3. And then to the wild card spots, we have Orioles and Yankees because they represent the tiebreaker there. Number 5, for that second wild card, we have the Twins. Number 6, for that final wild card spot, we have the Royals. And then I actually have 4 teams mentioned in the hunt. We have the Red Sox, Mariners, Rays, and Tigers in that order. And then going into the National League there, representing the East, we have the Phillies. And then second spot representing the West, we have the Dodgers. And then representing the Central at the third spot, we have the Brewers. And then the 4 wildcard spots, we have the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Braves. And then the 4 teams that are in the hunt currently, we have the Mets, the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Cubs.
So, for who we think is the most dangerous to make some noise here in the postseason, my question is who do you think is the most dangerous that's in the hunt for the wild card that's not currently in a wild card spot?
I would say, the Red Sox and Mets, that's kind of feels like it's cheating. That's picking low fruit. Obviously, you know that they have been in that spot already before the season. So I want to go with someone a little bit deeper down. I want to say initially before this episode, the Reds, because Ellie De La Cruz and Hunter Green. Hunter Green just got hurt, unfortunately. So I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs. I think this is a team that has a lot of talent. We know that they have pieces that have experience in the playoffs, such as Cody Bellinger and Dansby Swanson. And then they've had solid pitching. Obviously, Shota Imanaga was a hot rookie before Paul Skeens came into the MLB, got called up. But he's still been having a very good season. In any other year, he probably would have been the Rookie of the Year, but that doesn't mean he hasn't been a solid pitcher, because he has. So I think with the pieces that they have, they could definitely make that push to try to get to that final wildcard spot. I could see that being the case compared to some of the other teams that would seem more likely.
Yeah, I like that pick. Mine's most dangerous. I was going to go with the Giants. They've been playing really solid baseball. Snellzilla with another solid outing today. He's shown he can go longer in games than he did in his previous season where he won Cy Young. Unfortunately, they're being overshadowed by the Pods and the D-backs, but they're only 4 games back of that last wild card slot. So what's the percentage you guys think that we see 4 NL teams making the playoffs this year?
4 NL West teams, you mean?
NL West teams, yeah.
I would say, it's pretty likely. All those, like right now, with every team that's within the hunt, they're like within 5.5 games from that third wildcard spot. It's pretty likely, and we see that the Giants, they can go on streaks to, continue shaving off games back from that third spot. So I would say it's not improbable, but it's still not super likely. So I'd go maybe like 35%.
I think maybe, 60-40 would probably be my biggest split. I'd say 40% that they would make it. I think the Braves are hard to count out. Like we've talked about before, they're obviously a banged-up version of the Braves, but I still would say that they're more likely than the Giants. And then my pick for what I think is the most dangerous is actually the American League. I'm thinking that it's the Mariners. We've talked about their struggles, quite a bit on this podcast, but their pitching has been just as advertised. They're still the best pitching staff in the league. And this is while the offense has been underperforming. So if we can tap into that second half, Julio, Randy can get going. We see that they have pieces that could go. If the offense starts picking up, not only will that help them win games, but it'll help even take more pressure off of that pitching staff. And they're definitely a team that I don't think anybody would want to face in a wild card match with the 3-game setup.
I agree.
Definitely. That is some good takes there.
Well, I think that was pretty much it. We're trying to get through that segment a little bit quicker, and I think we're going to move on down to who's hot and who's not. Big man, you want to start us off with that?
Will do. Yeah. So I have a couple names I wanted to shout out for hot starts. Not hot starts, but hot play during the month of August so far. So my first person is going to be Jake Burger Bombs out in, unfortunately, Miami. So during the month of August, he's been having a slash line of a 356 average, a 426 on base percentage, and an 847 slugging percentage, which is with the August leading 9 home runs and with a combined OPS of 1.448, which also leads all qualified batters in the month of August. And we know last year he was a major trade piece when the Marlins acquired him from the South Side, and it seems so long ago, but it was only a year that the Marlins were contending for a wild card spot. Can't believe I'm saying that right now. But with this recent tear, I wish he had done it a little bit sooner before the deadline, because we could have been seeing Jake Burger play in the hot corner for maybe a contender, but I guess we'll see next season if we're having the same conversation. And then my second player I wanted to shout out for their outstanding play is Hunter Green. In his last 7 starts, he's had a 4-0 record, surrendering only 5 earned runs in this time, leading to a .98 ERA, a .70 WHIP, and 53 strikeouts during that time. And this is a guy that had immense potential and a lot of hype around him when he was a 2A star in high school out in Notre Dame up in Sherman Oaks. He was pumping 102 on the mound, playing good shortstop. I think he was in his draft class like the 2nd overall pick. I mean, this dude was a stud. And he's finally been able to stay on the mound. He was able to get over injuries and such, and he was showing his dominance and got the All-Star nod. And as I had mentioned before, he got injured today. We don't really know the severity yet. He's getting an MRI, but we hope that he does get back on the mound. He's healthy and helps the Reds make that push. But even if it does end up being the end of his season, we've seen his dominance, and we see that he's tapping into that potential we all knew he had.
We see that highlight reel of him puking through his glove as well.
He also leads the league in pukes per nines. Like, he is definitely the leader in that, behind Adrian Hauser. And then for players I want to mention that have not been playing hot, they're kind of linked within history, especially of this season. It's the 2 third basemen that were linked in the Cubs-Rays trade, Isaac Breddies and Christopher Morel. That was definitely one of the more major trades that we saw this deadline. We thought that the Cubs were making an upgrade at third base because Breddies was an all-star, and Morel kind of took a step back from last year, kind of the perfect player that the Rays were looking for, that they always seem to get, and they turn into a star. But as of right now, in the month of August, both have not been performing. So Paredes, he's had a slash line of .140 average, .241 on-base percentage, and a .280 slugging. And Morel has not been better either. He has a .102 average, .214 on-base percentage, and a .102 slugging percentage. That is some of the lowest out of any qualified hitters in the month of August so far. So I think probably within this trade, I don't think there's really a loser. Both of these guys are still young, and they still have a lot of time to turn things around. I think they are looking for Paredes to do that a little more quicker, as he was definitely a lot more expensive. But at the end of the day, they can kind of wait and see. It's not going to be the end of the world if they don't really perform to expectations this year.
Jay, want to take us?
All right, so I just have, for my Who's Hot, I have one player. It's Colin Ray for the Brewers. He has an 11-4 record this season. It's pretty good. Throwing a shutout, 7 innings pitched today with only 2 hits given up. He had a shaky previous start when he went up against the Dodgers lineup that had a healthy and free swinging Mookie Betts, who returned. But otherwise, he's had a solid season all around so far. He's pitching a 3.95 ERA. It's not ace worthy, but it's a good arm to have around the middle or the end of your rotation. And his quality start today has helped the Brewers to secure a 5-game winning streak, which was really needed after getting that terrible news that their star Christian Yelich will be out for the remainder of the season, having surgery on his back. I saw reports earlier he was trying to push it off to the off season, try to just get some stretching in, let it heal, but obviously that's not the case. Having traded away their ace Corbin Burns in the last off season, they were actually able to retool their rotation pretty well with guys like Ray starting to step it up there. And hopefully we'll see one part of the Jackson 3, Jackson Churio, try to fill that void offensively that Yelich will leave. So that's my who's hot, Colin Ray, for the Brewers. Who's not, I'm sure Rylan will touch on this a little bit, so I'll try not to go too much into it, but the Pittsburgh Pirates, they've lost 12 out of their last 13 games. They're looking like they're cooked. Coming into the post All-Star game stretch, they were contenders for the ever-changing wild card spots in the NL. They're in a slump. They're currently 7.5 games back from that final spot, and it'll be hard to claw back against the D-backs and the Pods that are playing really hot right now, even after losing their respective series this weekend. And not even Livy Dunn dressing up as her man Paul Skeens at Fanatic Fest this weekend can save them now. So if we keep seeing this losing continue for the Pirates, do you think there's a serious chance that Skeens gets shut down for the season and that drops him out of the Cy Young race, and that leads to an easy victory for Jackson Merrill for the Rookie of the Year in the NL? What do you guys think?
Well, that's your guy. We all know that you're ready for the MVP.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that there is a good chance. I don't think that they completely shut him down, because I think that's a big part of keeping the fan base, somewhat excited for the team. I think they just might limit him, kind of like how when they pulled him with the no-hitter, a lot of us were upset, hoping that he could do it. I don't think it was that he couldn't do it, but I think they're going to kind of limit him in that fashion a little bit more. So, I mean, that kind of takes me into my who's not as well. And again, I also chose Pittsburgh. They just in the month of August alone, they lose 2 of 3 from the Snakes to start, get swept by San Diego in Pittsburgh, go out to California, get swept at Dodgers, and again at Padres. And the problem is that I feel like the worst for the fan base, more so than the players. I mean, they're a team that hasn't been historically great in recent years. They got some excitement going this year. They're playing some decent ball. Then they throw Paul Skeens in there. Then they get some hope at the deadline by being buyers. They weren't, big trades, but they still were buyers, and they have just played a bad brand of baseball. It has not been pretty, and it has not been fun to watch. I mean, it's been nice to see the Pods win, but I was feeling bad for them. So I think they're cooked, and I feel for the fan base. And then for my who's hot, you kind of touched on the Rays a little bit there. Unfortunately, it wasn't in a positive note like I was thinking, but I was just going to highlight the Rays just from this past series against the Diamondbacks. When we do our series of the week, we pick what we think would be exciting. I don't think any of us had this series on our list. We thought this was kind of an easy deal here. But yet the Rays face the red-hot Snakes. They walk off the first game, blow out the Snakes in the second, walk them off, and get the sweep. Wasn't necessarily the prettiest, but it got them back over 500. And this is a team we keep talking about. The Diamondbacks are clicking right now. They're a fun team to watch. They're playing a good brand of baseball. So for a struggling Rays team, this was definitely an exciting series to watch, I thought. Anything else on that one? And other than that, I think we're ready to move on. All righty. Take us out to the ball game, 7th inning stretch. Who wants to start us off?
Yes, Micah was. I didn't prepare anything this time.
All right. Yeah, so I can go ahead with my aspect. So for my little seventh inning stretch idea. I wanted to do something kind of different. I don't think we've done something like this yet. I think many of us have seen those $15 challenges on social media where there's specific categories and you have like at the $1, two, three, four, five, but you have like the budget that you have to stay within. So I have a idea of building the core of a lineup with $15. So with each one, we have a catcher, an infielder, an outfielder, starting pitcher, and relief pitcher. We hope to get it up on the finalized recording, but just for the sake of describing it, I'll go ahead and do that really quick. So for the catcher, for $1, got Yander Diaz for Houston. For $2, Will Smith, catcher for the Dodgers. $3, Salvador Perez for KC. $4, William Contreras for the Brewers, and for $5, Adley Rutschman, catcher for the Orioles. Do you guys want me to just like list off all of them, or as I list off each like positions, do you want to just name your pick?
I was thinking just for sake of time. I mean, I think that just kind of gives them a good picture of what we're working with here, and we can kind of just go down the list. And I don't know if you want to go all the way through yours first, Jay, or you want to, or how you want to do it, Micah, where we'll each pick ours and just kind of start at catcher and work our way on down to the end there.
Yeah, you want to just do our whole team? It'll be quicker.
All right.
Yeah.
This is on the hopes of the actual like list popping up on the finalized recording. So this is hopefully all going to make sense as we're describing this. So if you guys want to go ahead and pick who you chose for the 5 categories within your budget, if you wanted to go first, Jared.
All right, so if I'm doing this in order from what I remember, so for my first pick at catcher, I picked William Contreras for $4. Then we went infielder. I went Rafael Devers, third baseman for the Red Sox, for $3. Next, we went outfield for $1. I picked Brenton Doyle from the Rockies. Then going to starting pitcher, I picked Blake Snell from the Giants for $4. And then finally, for my relief pitcher, I picked Mason Miller, the closer for the Athletics, for $3. And if my math is correct, that should be $15. So
I think you might be one short, honestly.
Was it? I don't know.
Yeah, because 4, 7, 8. No, actually, yeah, you're good. You're good.
So just
So,
yeah, go ahead.
okay.
I was just gonna just from the top: William Contreras, Rafael Devers, Brenton Doyle, Blake Snell, Mason Miller. That's my lineup.
It's a really good matchup. I thought we weren't going to have any overlapping there until you finished there with the closers. So for me, for my $15, I went with Will Smith for $2. I think for some reason he's actually one of the more underrated catchers in the game. He's one that I feel like true baseball fans know that he's a baller, but he always ends up kind of being second tier or second to whoever's the hottest at the time. Infielder, I went with $2. I went with Corey Seager. I think you see someone like Bobby Witt, he's at the top of the list for $5. And he is having obviously a better year than Seager, but you see what Seager did in the postseason last year. And I think if I were to have someone as my core, that's the guy I'd want to lead in the postseason. Outfielder, I went with the big bucks for the big man. I went with Aaron Judge for $5. Don't think you can go wrong there. And then starting pitcher, I went with Seth Lugo. He's having a heck of a year. He's just a steady Eddie. And then same as Jay there, I went with $3 for Mason Miller. He maybe isn't as established as some of those other guys, especially $1 for Kimbrel's probably a steal there for his track record over his career. But I think Mason Miller, as of right now, is the better guy to pick. So that's how I spent my $15.
Man, if you had picked Clay Holmes or Craig Kimbrel, I think Orioles and Yankees fans would have a word with you. So I like both of those picks, like both of those teams. So for mine, how I wanted to do it, so starting off at catcher, I actually wanted to spend the full 5 on Adley Rutschman. I think just there's no weaknesses really in terms of what a catcher would bring. He's a switch hitter too. He's a good hitter, for the position. So spending $5 there. And also, too, going to be going with $2 in the infield with Corey Seager. I mean, like, that is probably the best, or at least top three hitting middle infielder, with Bobby Witt and Gunnar Henderson now. Corey Seager, when he's healthy, like, he is an insane hitter. So there's $7 spent right now. And then with my next pick, so I wanted to spend $4. I had to go with a homer pick. Not homer, but, my home team, the main team. Wanted to spend it on Kyle Tucker. He's been hurt, but, I mean, right before he got hurt, I mean, they were having conversations about, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Kyle Tucker in terms of best outfielders in the league. He's been hurt, but, when he's back and he's healthy, we obviously know the type of talent he's at $11 there. And then with my starting pitcher, I wanted to go a little frugal here. I'm going to pick Michael King. Says he's been an underrated pitcher. Like, if you look at, advanced metrics, I'm not going to get into it right now, but when you look into it, he has been solid. And as we know, as Padre fans, like, he is a good pitcher, and I think he has that factor of if he gets into a jam, I don't think you have to worry about him unloading all the bases. So for $1, it's pretty good. I wanted to spend a little more on that, but I would have confidence in Michael King in a situation like that in one game. So that would get me at about $12. And then number 3 for $3 for the final, the relief pitcher, got to go with Mason Miller. I mean, he hasn't had as many opportunities, obviously, as Clase or Suarez. I am not touching Clay Holmes or Craig Kimbrell. That's not happening. Maybe Kimbrell about 2 weeks ago, but Craig Kimbrell now, no way. And Clay Holmes, definitely no way. So Mason Miller, when he's had the opportunity, we know what he can do. That dude is practically unhittable when he's pumping 103 where he wants to put it. So that's the teams. I'm glad you guys knew how to count. You did your math, and you filled in 5 spots with $15.
Well, I think that I'm going to pick my team there because that's the team that I chose. But now we're going to move on to mine here. We're doing something different than a blind ranking, guys. We are doing a mini draft. And we were going to try to see who was going to pick first, but Micah never responded to the text chain. So Jay gets the nod there for first pick.
Let's go.
He's going to sell his pick anyways. I don't even care.
So for my draft, we're going a little bit fun, a little bit more out there. We're going draft these 6 minor league teams purely based off of their names. So we got 6 teams, and I sent you guys the list. So Jay, get us started with who you're going with.
Is he going to go a certain route, one that's a little risky, or is he going to go off how cool the name is? Let's see.
Yeah, I think first pick.
Don't do it, bro. First pick.
I gotta go Modesto Nuts. Enough said.
Yeah, and they're on a tear right now. They did. I was there.
Hey, bro, I'm about to say, if it's up in Modesto right now in the middle of the oven, those nuts are probably toasty. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it was warm. It was warm for sure. Who you got, Micah?
You know what? I don't even care if these names are bad. With my second pick, I am a savory kind of guy for breakfast.
Oh no!
So I think with the second overall pick, gonna have to go with the Montgomery biscuits right there. I already have the merch. I kind of have to do it. And then, actually, that's a good question, Rylan. Is this going to be serpentine? So do I get the next pick, or does it go back and forth?
No, it's going to go back to Jay. I like the snake draft, but, again, you didn't respond, so we're going with Jay here. Who you got for the second round, Jay?
So number 2, I think I got to go Daytona Tortugas. Shout out to somebody else's relative.
Yeah.
There you go.
See, you know what? For the sake of showing off, I want to pick something else here. I'm not going to say the name because maybe it will be there for the last pick, but I'm going to take a risk. You know what? I got another hat for you, too. With
Hopefully
the 4th
he has his
overall
pants
pick
on.
in the minor league draft, I'm going to go with the Rocket City Trash Pandas right here, all right? And they just happen to be on this list, so I kind of have to draft them. They might not be the coolest names, but I got the merch, so I'm just going to go with that.
I respect it.
All right, so for my final pick, man, that's kind of hard. Uh, I gotta go Jacksonville jumbo shrimp because who doesn't like some jumbo shrimp? Bubba gum
Mm,
shrimp. Mm, sweet.
yeah, I was kind of hoping the jumbo shrimp was going to be there so I could stand up. But anyways, with the
Okay.
final pick, gonna have to go with the yard goats. That's still pretty sick. Like, I mean, I'd have to see a picture of the logo, but I mean, I'll take yard goats at number 6. But I was kind of hoping for jumbo shrimp.
Yeah, honestly, there was way too many good ones to pick, but I figured those were 6 fun ones, so that's what we went with. Nice picks, boys. Jay, you got anything for seventh inning stretch?
We're good.
Perfect. And let's see where we're at right now. We're at 25 minutes. We can make it, boys.
We'll
All
see.
righty. All righty, big man. Start us off with your pick. Who is your series of the week?
Alrighty, so I'm gonna go with a 4-game series. Going to be happening at the end of the week. It's gonna be Mets at the Padres. This one stood out to me because it's a back-to-back homestand for San Diego, right after a series with Minnesota, which should also be a competitive series. And before this series, they're going to be playing on 6 consecutive days. So fatigue could play a part, especially in the bullpen. And I chose this one over Minnesota. I was kind of debating between the two, but this one specifically has more of an impact on the wild card race that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and these teams got some history. I think I'm going to go with the Padres, though. I think overall they are the better team, and I think they got a little bit more of the fire in them. They just lost 2 of 3 to the Rocks. It was a close final game, so I think they're pretty fired up on that. They'll be happy to go home. And the Mets swept the 3-game series earlier in the year, I believe, if I'm not wrong. So I think the Padres got a little bit more skin in this one.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Padres as well. I think this whole year, if I'm not mistaken, they still lost the series number to the Rockies, even though they won the last one. They still lost this one. The Rockies are always the Padres' kryptonite. They're doing better this year, taking one of the series. But I think Padres going into the Mets. Uh, we'll see how it goes against the Twins, but they're not the Rockies, which are their kryptonite. So I'm going to go Padres on that.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because another thing I didn't mention, the Mets are flying all the way from New York after a series with Baltimore to play the Padres in San Diego now. So fatigue might be both a question. And there's a reason why I chose a 4-game series. We going with the split, baby. That's my favorite thing to do, so that's what I'm going to do it this time around.
And to be
Okay.
honest, I did not know it was a split, and now I kind of want to change my answer. But what's done is done.
Padres
Hey,
are
you're going to
Also,
going
follow your
against the
team.
Twins too.
I don't know if you boys can see it or not, but that is your goat. He's eating the bat.
Hey,
There's your
I'm taking that over Jumbo Shrimp, man. I'm totally cool with that.
And then for my series, I was thinking of two of the powerhouse in the American League right now. I'm going with the Stros versus the O's.
Oh,
And I know that the Astros don't have the record necessarily to show as the powerhouse, but look at the last 8 years or whatever it is. They're a powerhouse in the American League. The O's are the young bucks on the block. But even with that being said, the O's are kind of sputtering a little bit right now. I still think they're a great team. I think they're still a powerhouse, but I think the Astros are on a roll right now. So I'm gonna have to go with Texas on this one.
yeah. I mean, I, I want to choose the Astros. I really do. I'm just checking right now, seeing if it's
It's at
how many.
Baltimore.
It's at Baltimore, and it's.
You better choose right, or you're gonna have to take that jersey off.
I want to call another split because it's a 4-game series, but you
Oh,
know
is it
what? I'm gonna
really?
go with the Astros though because man, they've been on a hot streak. They're really picking it up, and Orioles are still playing good, but you got to ride with your guys, and if the result happens, then I'm a happy fan. If not, it is what it is. So I'm gonna go with the Astros on that.
I've never done a split before, so this is another 4 game series. So I'll go split. They're both good teams. They both kind of. The Astros might be playing a little more on fire than the O's are right now, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to go split.
I should have done split. I clearly did not do my research, boys.
You could have. It might be just like you. It could be almost as if you just got off a plane.
Yeah,
All
potentially.
right. All All right, guys. So my series of the week. It's also the end of the week series. Phillies at Royals. Both teams have been coming off lots of losing series the past couple of weeks, but both teams secured series dubs this weekend. One team struggling, but still clearly ahead of their division with the Phillies, and the other still a comfortable wild card spot, being ahead 3.5 games over the Red Sox, but need to turn the series dub into a streak with the Royals. So who you guys going with, Phillies or Royals?
I'm going to go with Royals. I touched on it a little bit. I don't remember if it was last episode or the episode before, but Bobby Witt is not only is he having himself a year, obviously this year, but at home his splits are unreal. So if Bobby Witt continues to do what he's been doing all year, especially at home, I think that he can take them to a victory here.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna go with the Royals as well, because it is. I don't know if you had mentioned it. It is in Kansas City. We know how good they play. Like significantly better they play at home. So I'm gonna go with the Royals just based off that. You know, doing a lot of research on that right off the fly, but I'm just gonna go with home splits. KC.
I'm gonna go. Hopefully that Phillies are gonna kind of ride a wave here. The Royals aren't a slouch, but I'm gonna go Phillies here.
Alrighty, gentlemen. So let's see. We are at just barely over 30 minutes. So we kept our promise this time. I think we covered a good amount in a short period of time. I didn't say it at the beginning of the episode, but this is Sunday, August 18th. Might be tomorrow, might be the next day by the time you guys see this. But thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. This was Yuckin Ball.
Oh, hold on 1 second. We have a little tiebreaker from our series of the week last week.
Oh, you're ruining my outro. I put my all into that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, guys, you got your pens and paper?
Yes,
Wait,
sir.
Or whatever you're going to use to jot stuff down. You can do your phone if you're quicker with it, but...
I trust my John Hancock.
Okay, and this is not an open book test. No quick draw on the website or your MLB app, okay?
We already know it's going to be Micah anyways, but we'll get back.
We'll see. So, you guys have 30 seconds, and you need to write down however you need to that you can say their full name when we talk about it after the timer's done. Name the most closing pitchers in the top 10 with saves.
All time?
No, this year. So think
This
about the
year.
people of top 10 in saves. Whoever can jot down the most names in 30 seconds wins the tiebreaker and wins this.
Start right now.
All right, so let's see. Let me get the timer ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Pencils up.
Bro, I low key might lose this one. I was praying for it.
No, you
Okay.
definitely won't.
No cheating, guys. So
I just literally
All right.
checked my pen. I don't know if the camera clip picked that up, but
okay, so Rye, let's read off the names you got.
Alrighty, so I got Robert Suarez, Mason Miller, Carlos Estevez, Kenley Jensen, and Craig Kimbrell. I don't know how many of those are correct, but
You got 3. All right, Micah.
okay. So I got Emmanuel Clase, Robert Suarez, Clay Holmes, Kirby Yates, Kenley Jansen, and this is definitely wrong, especially since he got sent down. But Camilo Duvall.
So Micah got 4.
No way. Which one is it wrong?
Would say Camilo Duvall is not. So you said what? Say your list again, Micah.
Clase, Robert Suarez, Clay Holmes, Kirby Yates, Camilla Duvall, and Kenley Jansen.
Yeah, so Kirby Yates and Camille Duvall are not.
Hmm.
All right, so Micah won the tiebreaker. Micah gets a burrito.
I won. Honestly, the fact that
Again.
I'll take it. Alrighty, now this is the outro. Sorry for the premature one. It's been slightly over 30 minutes, but I think this is a good spot. So thanks for tuning in. This has been Yuckin Ball.
Thank you all.